All right, well, let's kick off. So, hey everyone, I'm Bhakti. I work at Dovu. Very, very excited to be running this Twitter Spaces today. We've got some great speakers. We have Matt, who's the CTO at Dovu. We have Gerbert, who's from Venly, and we've got Jesse from Hashport. So, I guess let's just kick straight off and go into introductions. Matt, can you tell everyone a bit about yourself, please?
Hi, my name's Matt. When I was a kid, my favorite color was dark black. Um, no, so yeah, as Backley's mentioned, I'm the CTO for Dovu. I'm also a Hedera MVP, and I do all things product and tech and try to glue people together to kind of make things work. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, Gerbert.
Hello, I'm Gerbert. I'm a co-founder and COO at Venly. What we do at Venly is making it easy to create user-friendly, customer-facing blockchain applications on top of multiple blockchains. One of it being the Venly wallet, which allows users to create a wallet using social logins and link it to your application.
Wonderful. And finally, Jesse.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jesse. I am the Director of Business Development for Hashport, an interoperability solution that enables users to migrate their digital assets between different distributed networks, and black's not a color.
So the big news for us this week is something that the team have been working on for a while, which is that Dove token holders can now move from Ethereum to Hedera, and that Dovu, as a result, now has that kind of that integration with Venly. Matt, can you explain a bit about what led Dovu to work with Hashport and Venly? And also, what's Dovu's goal for the integration of the Hedera-based bridge, token, and wallet?
Okay, so I've personally been working with Venly, or tormenting Venly, more like, probably since early last year in a variety of different projects. And I've really loved how accessible the technology is and how easy it is not to develop with, but the ability for users to kind of use their social credentials to create crypto wallets and kind of reduce that barrier to entry. And on the Hashport side, I think it's about the same time. Like I've known about them and their connected parties for about a year or so now. And I've always felt that the combination of Venly and Hashport has been effectively a combination that I feel is a wonderful first step for Hedera, and for people to bridge their assets from Ethereum into Hedera. Now, for Dovu, what this means is it will unlock opportunities for us to be really efficient in terms of tokenization and value transfer. And one of the first instances of that's coming out this quarter is our staking program.
Great, thanks, Matt. Jesse, in your view, why is this such an important development?
Yeah, I think the more that distributed ledgers and tokens and crypto are being used, the greater importance that is being placed on the ability to allow users and developers of dApps to have more and more flexibility with what you can do with those items. So really, over time, having the ability for users not only to be able to migrate, their assets where they would like to go and potentially take advantage of opportunities that arise on other networks. This is, I think, incredibly powerful for the industry as a whole, and I think we're going to see more and more of it. The fact that a platform such as Dovu is now able to effectively migrate their entire platform from one ledger or network to another one to take advantage of the performance benefits of doing so. And not only that, but effectively be able to branch out to any number of networks that they deem important to do so with, is going to be incredibly powerful with connecting different ecosystems together, but also providing greater performing dApps and experiences for users. So I think it's a win-win all around.
Just kind of building on from that, How does Hashport differ from other interoperability solutions?
Yeah, there's a few ways in which we differ. One primarily being we've chosen to sort of take the same approach as Hedera, in the sense of we have a validator swarm, which is sort of a mini governing council, like in the case with Hedera, and it's comprised of very well-known, highly regarded organizations in the space, and currently 9 of those organizations make up our current validator swarm. And what that means effectively is users are able to trust in the organizations that are effectively securing and authorizing the transactions that are going through Hashport. A lot of times, what you will see with other platforms is, yes, you're getting your assets on the other end of the process, but you don't really know who or where those transactions are being authorized through, or in many cases, it's just a singular entity that is doing the validation of those transactions. So, I mean, in the case of Hashport, the validator swarm, we have the HBAR Foundation, which is Hedera's new independent foundation that's responsible for growing the Hedera ecosystem from a network perspective. And also, I should say, these validators have been chosen specifically because they are differing from one another in the space. They're not all performing the same functions or operating in the same corners of the DLT industry, but they all play a crucial role. So from the network standpoint, we have the Polygon network helping to validate transactions. On a social aspect, we have Calaxy, the new social media dApp that's being created by Spencer Dinwiddie, the basketball player for the Dallas Mavericks. From a strategy standpoint, we have BCW Group, which heads up all of the go-to-market strategy for the platform. In terms of a security player, we have Hex Trust, which is one of Asia's largest digital asset custodians. We also have a Hedera council member who is acting as a validator, WorldPay from FIS. I believe they're actually one of the first Fortune 250 companies to ever take a role such as this in a validator capacity, authenticating transactions of a dApp. From stablecoins perspective, we have StableNode, which is a integrations partner for MakerDAO and the DAI stablecoin. And then from gaming and NFTs, we have Animoca Brands, which is one of the largest, if not the largest, decentralized gaming platforms that brings lots of great games to market. And then rounding everything out, we have LimeChain on the technology front. And they are a systems integrator that has headed up the technological implementation for Hashport. So between these 9 validators, there's a lot of visibility for users to understand who the transactions are being validated and signed through. And then on the other end of the technological implementation part of this, we're leveraging the Hedera Consensus Service, which is a lot different than I believe every other interoperability solution out there, in the sense that these transactions that are being signed and submitted, when they are submitted, they're being done so in an incredibly fast manner, but also with 100% finality, which is something that you don't see on other platforms. And when that happens, you get a lot of performance benefits out of doing so, which enables faster transactions and a smoother overall process. The last thing I will say is Hashport has decided to go against having a platform token itself, and this has been done for several reasons. One of which is regulatory compliance is of top of mind. This platform has been built as a agnostic utility for everyone to use, and individual users, dApp developers, all the way up to large-scale enterprises potentially could be using this platform in the future. So the ability to have consistent service and mitigating risks in terms of what we're looking to do having a token just didn't seem like the greatest of ideas. And then also from a usability standpoint, adding an additional asset into the platform just seemed like an extra step and cumbersome for the users. And this platform is really all about providing the best overall experience in terms of migrating assets between networks. So that was one of the other main reasons for foregoing a network token. But I think those are, sorry for the long-winded response, but I think those are the main differentiators for the platform.
No, I mean, that's the purpose of these sessions, just to kind of talk in a bit more detail. So thanks for that.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's what's really exciting about Hashbot from my perspective is you have all these different bridges like in blockchain, and like for instance at Dovu, like you can take your Ethereum Dove tokens to Binance Smart Chain, but you have to use the Polybridge. And if you want to take your Dove tokens and then send them to Polygon, you have to use like the Polygon kind of the bridge. And what Hashport is really bringing to the table is this vision of having a single pragmatic solution where almost like a bicycle spoke, you can like move your value in and out to any network you see fit. And that's the future of that is going to be absolutely game changing for the industry, let alone Dovu in itself.
Awesome. Gerbert, can you talk a bit about Venly's experience of working with Hashbot?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's nice working together with us. But with Hashbot, it's a very experienced team. They're very business-minded. And what's very interesting for us about working with Hashbot is that we often have B2B customers who come to use our technology. They also ask our advice to which blockchain network they have to use, because it's quite a risk that they take at choosing a specific blockchain. Now, with the possibilities that Hashbot brings us to making this bridge possible between blockchains, is that this risk goes away that our B2B customers use, because if one network doesn't suit their needs anymore, they can actually easily bridge now to another network and just experience the new services there.
And then a question for everyone, really. Within the DLT space, what are the trends that you're noticing with respect to interoperability?
Yeah,
what I see.
Go ahead, Matt.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. What I see is as new networks develop and it's easier to bridge, there are more opportunities that develop for holders, users, individuals of networks. Take Binance Smart Chain, for instance. That network absolutely exploded. The same with Matic, Polygon. I'm looking forward to Hedera having its light in the same vein that those previous kind of layer 2 networks had. Jesse?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head, Matt. And just to add to it, I think over time, what you're going to see right now, I think we're still in this phase of really grabbing all of the building blocks and seeing what can and cannot be done. I mean, the space is iterating and growing at a pace faster than any other industry in the history of humankind. I like to say that a lot, but it really is true. And I think what you're going to end up seeing is progressively you're going to get more and more integrations between networks and between dApps themselves that are going to bolster user experience and performance. And I know there's quite a few hurdles and bottlenecks to accomplishing those things. I mean, quite a few people, Vitalik Buterin included, view the world potentially as interoperable, but potentially not multi-chain. However, I think the ingenuity that the space brings to the table over time, there's going to definitely be those integrations between different networks that allow, and specifically Hashport in and of itself allowing platforms to move between networks. Maybe things don't work out the way as intended in terms of having true interoperability between a dApp residing on two different networks. However, the ability to actually allow functional business processes happen I think Hashport could play a big role in that, in the sense of you're seeing a case in point right here with Dovu looking to migrate from Ethereum and to Hedera to take advantage of those performance properties. So I think it's interoperability means different things to everyone. Everyone's got a different view of it, and I think we're just in the process right now of figuring out what those views are and how we can leverage interoperability to bolster apps, or dApps, I should say.
I'm going to ask a question and then open it up to the audience. So if you've got a question, then just send a request to speak. What more do you think we can expect more from this collaboration between the three organizations and between the teams in the future? Big question.
Yeah, I'll start with that. I think going forward, it's going to be a great relationship with both Dovu and Venly. Venly, right out of the box, as Matt was talking about earlier, they support, I believe it's 12 networks right now, right out of the box for users once they sign up easily with, whether it be their Google account or Twitter. A user can quickly and seamlessly create an account for themselves. And in doing so, that flexibility is going to be there as Hashport expands to eventually, 2 different networks. Being able to right out of the box have compatibility with a wallet such as Venly, I think is huge. And then, with Dovu, Hashport, being built, Hashport's being built to accommodate the growth of platforms like Dovu, and in the future being able to accommodate new networks and new ideas and channels of business for the Dovu platform. So really excited to continue progressing with both these great organizations, and I think the sky's the limit.
I share the exact same sentiment. I mean, for Dovu's specific needs, wallets like Venly mean that anyone can buy tokenized carbon credits without previously having access or understanding really kind of what blockchain or Hedera is, or caring what the underlying technology is. And with Hashport, Jesse, always there, then I'm very fortunate we're very fortunate to work together.
Okay. So we're currently launching a MetaRing, which is like a metaverse NFT project. And currently we were limited to actually all projects residing on one blockchain. And the great thing about working with Hashport now is that we can port this ring to other blockchains or just transfer them, and that it can really become a cross-chain multiverse where we don't have to look at the technology as a limiting factor anymore.
Great. Christopher, did you have a question?
Yes, since I have the opportunity, I would like to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. First, I appreciate each and every one of you for, your creativity and your courage. I'm somebody who's grown up like in a smaller location, like smaller, not too many people. And I just wanted to ask, what are some words of encouragement for those people that are like going through their everyday life? They believe in your project, and they just want to see you guys grow and the community grow and just see the creativity flourish here in the future. Like, what are some encouraging words that you would like to share with somebody like that?
Matt Gerbert, do you want to take that, or can I hop in?
Be my guest.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for reaching out. I think that as we go forward, the technology that's being worked on today is really being developed for use cases and things that are going to become of great importance tomorrow. And I think that over time, users and people that are, of all walks of life and places are going to be able to harness this technology. And we've seen quite a bit of those examples already coming to light, to be able to better themselves and their lives. And I really think that everyone as a community and as a world overall really embraces what the potential is for these products and platforms and just even the base layer of these distributed networks. I think that over time there's going to be an incredible amount of good that comes from it, and really, hopefully a democratization of benefits for as many people as possible, and access to the ability to capture those benefits.
Thank you. That was beautiful, man. Beautiful.
I think on the Dovu side, I'll just interject, is that our plan for the future is to give communities, families, and individuals from impoverished communities opportunities to earn money from unlocking the carbon from underneath their ground in the soil underneath their feet. And, blockchain, crypto has evolved so much and it's evolving so quickly that, being part of a project that has such a bold vision, we just want to do what we can for the world and hopefully inspire others to do the same.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. I appreciate you guys for real.
Thanks, Christopher. Justin, we've got you up as a speaker. Would you like to say anything? Ask a question, have a chat?
Yeah, I mean, as far as Dovu is concerned, I personally own a lot of Dovu. I don't buy any more now because I'm kind of helping out. But, I actually I grew up from a really small town out in the woods myself. And whenever I first kind of started getting into crypto and learning all of it, it seemed like it was a really, really steep learning curve. But, I would say after you kind of get the basics of it, it's, it's really easy. And I would just say, don't give up on learning, ever.
We don't seem to have any other questions from the audience. If you do have a question, then let me know and I can bring you up on stage. One question that we have been getting on socials is that people have been wondering if it's already possible to bridge tokens to Hedera, Dove tokens to Hedera, and how that actually works in practice.
Yeah, it is possible, and the way it functions is in the same way that tokens are, HBAR tokens are brought back from say Polygon or Ethereum. It happens in the same way, with the exception that those existing Dove tokens, obviously, their home resides or place of origin resides on Ethereum, so those tokens aren't burnt. They are locked up on Hashport, and then the representative version of Dove on Hedera is created.
Now, is that a locking mechanism, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I mean, when the user comes to the platform, they submit they're submitting their transaction request for the X, and the user interface is pretty self-explanatory as well. There's videos and articles walking through the process, but the user submits their request, at which point one of the validators receives that transaction. They're all listening for transaction requests, and then they submit that request to all of the other validators to achieve a super majority of signatures. When that happens, the transaction submitted to an HCS topic and logged immutably. And then once we receive that finality, then a secondary transaction happens to allow for users to then have their tokens minted on the destination network. So it happens the same way that the process where HBAR are being locked on Hashport.
Interesting. And then from it's my understanding that the Venly wallet of that is custodial. That's correct, right?
Yeah, the Venly solution is custodial. Yes.
That's nice. And I think, there's I guess a small amount of kind of FUD that I've been hearing about, worrying about having that be custodial. And I think I wanted to just, for me personally, I'm a big fan of custodial wallets for use cases exactly like this. And, I just wanted to throw that out as my 2 cents. If it means anything to anyone. I don't want to keep track of 4 different sets of keys and stuff like that. So I was really happy with this decision.
Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead, Gerber. Sorry.
So we really want to open up the whole crypto world for the mainstream audience, and not only for the crypto natives who are very comfortable installing browser plugins and backing up private keys. So that's part of our mission.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's awesome. I really do.
Thanks.
So another question that I guess I could ask. So just curious about the supply on Dovu's website. It's it's running a bit thin, Matt.
Yeah, I think, what was it, in December we loaded up with I think about 170 tons of carbon, and it got pretty much like all bought up, probably like 80 to 85% of it within a couple of weeks, which we were really happy about. But I think one of the interesting points is that, like, we literally had couples like this sweet old couple from Bulgaria who, like, they managed to sell all the carbon in their land within like 7 days, and being able to go to them and give them that money, like, they've never experienced anything in their life, and the reaction, like one of our founders told us, was amazing, and that's kind of what we're aiming to do for the future. But yeah, supply is in the pipeline, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the key things about Dovu for me. You have proponents of sustainability and opponents of sustainability, just like you have with everything else in the world. And I like the fact that Dovu has a very like tight-knit personalization and social aspect to the whole process. And to me, I think, and this is not really known for the industry yet, but I think that'll provide a really high quality asset, or offset, I should say, a really high quality offset for folks who are interested in buying them. That's more of an opinion, but I guess it counts.
Yeah, and I think going forward, I can see a future with Dovu and farms and being able to update, the holders of, effectively the holders of the buyers of these offsets with farm updates and like family updates, and kind of very much how kind of charitable kind of adopt like pets or horses, all those kind of things could potentially connect. So there's a lot of opportunity moving forward.
Ed, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. I'm a combined cycle power plant operator. I own some Dovu, dabbling in crypto. And my question is, am I still on? Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm sorry. So working at a large combined cycle power plant in the Southeast, and I try to tell people about Dovu, including all the way up management, plant manager, etc. They've never even heard of it, and for the most part, act like they've never even heard of like the farming and getting credits. Is this because it's just so new?
Yeah, for the most part, credits, farming soil is relatively new. It has been around for a couple of decades now in terms of the sciences, but definitely for Dovu, we're such a low cap, unknown crypto, for lack of another word, that
Yes.
there's only really a finite number of that people that know for us. But moving forward, I do believe that carbon credits and being able to unlock the soil underneath your feet is going to become a huge deal. And it's amazing to hear insight that where you're from, that isn't really kind of taken hold yet.
No, sir, it hasn't at all. I know we had built that power plant in Mississippi that was trying to store carbon, and that didn't work. We lost billions on that. And so you'd think they would know more about like what you're trying to do. I'm just surprised. Crypto altogether, they don't know a lot of. They ask me a lot of questions, but I'm really bad at trying to explain it. So I was just curious. I hold Dovu, and I'm going to. I think it's a great project. I am, we're a natural gas power plant. To me, and we own there's like 70 solar and wind projects all over the country. We're trying to go green, but we're going to have to use natural gas for a while. That's just going to happen.
Ed, Hedera employee, you should totally PM me on Twitter and I'll give you my email address. I can totally help you out with this.
That'd be great, because it's like, trying to give them information, they just don't understand it.
Oh yeah, man. No, I get it. That is seriously like my job. I love doing that. I would be more than happy to help.
You're Justin?
Yes, sir. Justin Atwell.
Okay, Justin, I will. I'll get hold of you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. I'm trying.
I mean, if anyone's got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I have a question that's actually just come through. What does a wallet look like in 3 years? And will bridging just be an integrated service within the wallet?
Yeah, I mean, wallets are iterating on themselves rapidly as well. There's a lot of experimentation. What ultimately ends up, becoming a staple, I think, really by and large will fall on the users and sort of voting with their feet. With that said, I think the ability to have a way to easily migrate tokens between networks directly integrated on a wallet is something that we've thought of and are looking at actively. Can't give any timelines on anything like that, but it's definitely something that's of interest. Anything like, from Hashboard's perspective, anything that we can do to minimize the pain points and time to effectively transfer assets and the ease for a user, we're very interested in looking at. So sort of a no stone unturned approach for us. So if there is a way to do that in the future, we most likely will be looking at that, yes.
I would also say that, if we look at the past 3 years of crypto and how far we've come already, like the next 3 years is like almost like a generation ahead, and there'll be the next batch of people who are really like passionate about what's being built. And if we think about what like a wallet is, it can be in anything. It could be in an IoT device. It could be like in your TV, in your fridge, if you wanted to. Like Google Glasses. And so, as we progress more and more, we're going to have these wallets in every single aspect of life, and that's going to be incredible.
Yeah, so at our site, in the future, it will also be integrated in the wallet, that you don't have to go to another website anymore to swap. So the goal is to make it as user-friendly as possible. It's going to pose some challenges on the UX side of the wallet, of course. So at the moment, we are working on a redesign of the wallet. And then in the future, we will be able to integrate natively swaps between networks as well.
Do you think we'll be able to get to a point where you can offset by design? So with every transaction within the wallet, you can automatically offset the carbon of that transaction? Ideally through Dove, but sort of that built-in element. Do you think that's feasible? And if it is, kind of how far off do you think we are at the moment?
The nature of tokens and royalties, especially Hedera tokens, is it provides us opportunities to offset for every single transaction, and anything is possible. I believe that the solutions that are out today are a foundation, and we don't know what's going to happen 5-10 years from now. None of us have an idea. But interestingly enough, with our carbon market cap solution, we're looking at tokenizing debt for every single Ethereum project. So the idea of you'd be able to carry projects can carry debt with them, and their community could kind of gather together and slowly push down their kind of carbon debt. And so I believe there is a future of like offset by design. But like all these things, it's a lot of R&D and research, and what I think will look like today probably isn't what it will kind of come out as. Like we just zigzag our way to success, basically.
And so that brings me on to my final question, which is for all of the speakers: what excites you most about the industry going forward?
Oh, I'll totally go first if you want.
Please.
So the thing that excites me the most is that finally the large organizations are having to be held accountable for their emissions and stuff like that. And with things like Dovu and stuff like that, you have the ability to actually make sure the farmers get paid rather than pay kind of padding pocketbooks of already millionaires. And that to me is really important for Web3 and not just sustainability.
And
Yeah,
sharing this.
Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
So sharing the same sentiment as Justin, more and more dApps that are out for social good that actually have a purpose and aren't just for speculation. And we are at that point, and it's going to be a very exciting future.
Yeah, just to echo the sentiments of both Justin and Matt, I think the most exciting thing for me is you see these performant networks coming to market now, such as Hedera coming into its own, among others, and really the granularity and speed that enables the granularity of these transactions that you can get really down to, the grassroots level of the matters that you're trying to tackle, and not only that, but have a auditable record of all of those things that enable that trust and transparency that really is required for having these distributed, not centralized, controlled use cases that everyone can sort of operate and derive benefit from independently, no matter where they are. Dovu, I think, is a great use case in that sense that farmers from around the world can effectively unlock the potential capital and do so in a way that's actually beneficial for the world. It seems like a win-win-win for everyone. So those kinds of use cases really get me excited, and the performant nature of these new networks like Hedera are the reason why these use cases are now becoming possible.
I think it's very exciting how the technology is becoming available to everybody, and also the collaboration in the space. It's just very exciting.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jesse, Matt, Gerber, and Justin as well, and everyone who asked questions. We are going to be posting a couple of poll questions out on Twitter over the next few days, and as well as a recording of this. Keep in touch. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.